All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Connie Ang. I work at CCI as a digital experience manager. And welcome to this special edition of In Her Kitchen for She Means Business. Today's Lotus event is in partnership with the Women's ERG to celebrate Women's Heritage Month. For those of you joining for the first time, Lotus is Cox's cross-divisional employee resource group for Asian and Pacific Islander Americans and advocates. Our In My Kitchen signature series is an opportunity for Cox employees and guests to share a live cooking demo of your choice to showcase the various cuisines and Asian heritage information to our ERG members and guests. We'd love to keep this event as engaging and interactive as possible. So if you have any questions, just drop them in the Q&A chat. Due to the beauty of working from home, if you're seeing a freeze, you can find the play button or leave and rejoin. With that, I have the honor to present Jessica, Arielle, and Elizabeth as they share 3 quick and healthy dishes to make during your lunch breaks.
I think we can move over to Arielle, who's going to be cooking fresh spring rolls. It's a Filipino dish called Lumpiang Sariwa, and she'll be cooking that for us next.
Yeah, thanks, Jessica. First of all, hi everybody, I'm Arielle Perez. I work here at CEI in the Audit Services Department, and so today I'll be cooking Lumpiang Sariwa with everyone. And so I think for the first part, there's 3 main sections that we really have to cook today. It's the sauce, the wrapper, and then the filling. And so the first thing we'll cook is the sauce. And so I have prepped my station. We will turn on the stove to about a medium level, and you're going to start caramelizing 3/4 cup of sugar. And so I have pre-measured it right there. You guys can't see it. And so you guys, I usually turn the stove on a little higher just before it starts actually caramelizing. And then when it does, I will turn it down a little bit. All right. And so, today we're making Lumpiang Sariwa, and translated that is to a fresh spring roll. This is something that's a pretty healthy dish. You have the option to add, when we're making the filling, you'll see that you guys can add in ground pork or shrimp or chicken, or you can just keep it vegetarian and just have it whatever you want in there with all the veggies that we have today. And so giving this all a second to caramelize.
Hey, Arielle.
Yeah.
There's a question in the chat. They're wondering, how long have you been cooking?
How long have I been cooking? Actually not that long. Hold on, I'll show myself. It hasn't been too long, really. I think quarantine started what started my cooking, because my mom was mainly the one cooking growing up, and I'm really not like cooking inclined, but ever since I moved out, I really had to like learn a little bit more. Between me and my boyfriend, he's also the chef, so that's just another excuse for me not to cook. But I'm starting to learn a little bit more, especially with quarantine, just to pick up something to do while we're at home all the time. So yeah. But good question. And my mom is in the background. You guys might see her later, but she laughed when someone asked that question because she knows that I am not chef, but we try our best. Okay. The sugar does take a little bit to brown, so I maybe should have started this a little earlier, but it is starting to melt. If you guys have ever browned sugar or caramelized it before, you'll just have to keep moving it around to make sure it doesn't burn, because then the sauce will get a little too bitter. So you guys can just keep stirring it like the way I am, and then you'll slowly notice it liquefying at the bottom. And again, you just have to keep moving it around so that it doesn't get too brown or too bitter. I'm not sure if my camera lets you guys see this, but it is starting. So I have to keep moving it around. And then once this is more caramelized, we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of soy sauce and 1 1/4 cup of water, as well as 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. But there, you guys can maybe see that the sugar is starting to solidify right now. Gotta keep stirring. It's getting solid. But yes, but this is a very, once we get this all together at the end, you guys will see that it is a very beautifully healthy dish. Very filling as well. So something that me and my siblings like to eat. My mom makes it all the time. Fun fact, we did 2 test runs of cooking this, so hopefully should go pretty well. You guys can see that the sugar is getting kind of more solid, and so just keep moving it around. Alrighty. Should I go ahead and add the soy sauce? Almost there. I think once majority of it is a little bit more solid and not as much white sugar is when you can add in all of your the soy sauce and stuff. This smells so sweet. You guys can't smell it, but it smells really good. We'll come in and ask my mom what she thinks of this in a second. All right. As you guys can see this, it's getting more and more melted. All right. I'm gonna hand this off to my mom while I get the other stuff, but you can tell. And then let's just fix it first. Good.
Arielle.
Yes.
I should have recruited a sous chef for my dish too. I feel like there's definitely an advantage to doing that.
Yeah. So like I mentioned, I'm not very cooking inclined, but trying my best. And so I recruited my mom, who is really the master chef behind everything, to help out in case, just for emergency sake. But so as you guys can see now, it's pretty melted and caramelized. And so we will add in soy sauce. We will add the soy sauce and the water. Actually, water first. And I think when you guys pour this, don't be surprised when the sugar hardens. So you guys can probably watch this, but it will. You guys heard, it does harden initially, but you just have to keep stirring and it will liquefy once again. And then I'll also add in the 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. And so you'll put in 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, but don't put it in directly. I usually add 2 tablespoons. Let me try everyone. I usually will add 2 tablespoons of water into the cornstarch to stir it first, just so it's a little bit more liquefied, and when it goes into the sauce, it's more distributed. And so,
Hey, Arielle.
Hey.
Hey, there's a question in the chat. Well, one comment. They said that maybe your mom should cook since she's in the background. And then they said, where in the Philippines is your family from? The person's mom is from Manila, and then her dad is from Cebu City.
Yeah. So we're also originally from Manila. I think more specifically Quezon City. And then I know my dad as well, and probably my mom has some family in the province, but I'm not exactly sure where. But here we go.
Continue mixing.
Yes, and you'll make sure to keep mixing when you guys add the cornstarch in, as I have just done so. And then you'll slowly notice that the sauce will get a little thicker. It'll still stay pretty liquidy, but not too thick. But yes, if any other Filipino people are here, you guys know how family-oriented our culture is. So I guess it really just shows that my mom is here to help because we're just family-oriented like that.
Still thicken.
And so you guys can see that it's thickening right now. But I think while we have this going, you guys can get it to like a good consistency that you like. But before I continue to the next 2 steps, I will pass it back to Jessica to show her completed dish. I just realized I was muted the entire time I was talking, but thank you, Jessica. So now we just finished the sauce, and now we're gonna move to making the filling. And so I got my pot here, and we're gonna start off with sauteing the garlic. Sorry, my mom's telling. This is about 1 clove of garlic, but if you're like me, you know, or not 1 clove, 1 head of garlic. If you're like me, you can always add more garlic. You can never have too much. You'll start cooking this until it's aromatic. And then after this, we will add in a 1/2 cup of diced onions. Let's see, you guys. It smells so good. I'm like a big garlic fan, so I always add a little more than each recipe kind of requires, but it's all good. And so once you can kind of start smelling it, you can go ahead and add your onions in. And I can smell this pretty well.
Hey, Arielle.
Yeah.
There's another question in the chat, and it says, do you have an option to make less sugar? I know.
Yes, you do. You can make the sauce as sweet or like not as savory as you'd like. Sometimes we do add a little less sugar, and so it's really up to your preference. All right, now I'm adding my onions in.
One more question from the audience. Is there oil in the pan?
Yes, there was oil. I did pre-oil it. I should have mentioned that. Just a light layer, just enough to cover like a thin layer, just to have my garlic in there. All right. And then after you get all of these, I usually wait till the onions are a little bit clear. But once you have that, I already have everything prepped, but I am using a 1/2 pound of ground pork. You have the option to make this vegetarian, so you don't have to include it, but my family loves a good filling with meat, and so we'll have this. And then we also have 3 chicken tenderloins that are kind of cut into small pieces, just so that they can cook a little more evenly. Again, you don't have to include the meat, but it is a good for more filling meat eaters. And so I'll go ahead and start with the ground pork first. Put that in there. And so when you put it in, you want to make sure you keep crushing it up just so that it doesn't stick all together, because I have done that and it does become one blob. So I'll keep moving these around.
Hey, Arielle, what type of oil did you use? Vegetable, canola, any preference?
It is canola oil. But I think any oil would work. I know my boyfriend loves to use like avocado oil for some things, and he says supposedly it tastes a little better when you're not like just deep frying something, so that's an option. So yep, let's keep moving these. Once I originally was mashing up the ground pork just to keep it separated, but once they're all like more separated, mixing it in with my garlic to get all that flavor in there. And so we'll just keep mixing, making sure it gets less red. But yes, I hope you guys can hear all of the sizzling. It's very ASMR. And so it's starting to get a little bit more cooked. Again, got to keep moving it around so that the pork can get separated. And now it's not all the way cooked yet, but since we are leaving this in the pot while we add our chicken, so it'll continue to cook, I will go ahead and add my cut up chicken tenderloins. but it all just cooks in the same pot. And there is another option if you guys don't want to use chicken or pork. You can add shrimp, which I am also adding today, but we usually add about 20 to 25 pieces of small shrimp, like these. And it'll also get tossed in here once I get this cooking. And then also I didn't mention, but I'm on about like a medium to a little on the higher side heat, but still medium. It's just a good heat to keep it on so it doesn't burn, but also keeps everything cooking. And so doing this, checking the time. But yes. Can you guys hear the sizzling? I'm actually not sure if the mic is close enough, but it's smelling pretty good.
We hear it and we wish we were in your kitchen right now.
Yeah, we wish we could do live demos, you know, maybe one day in the future. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep continuing to cook the chicken. When I usually toss the shrimp in, I usually will add the veggies. And so walking through our veggies today, we have we have some green beans that we sliced kind of diagonally like this. I forgot what the French cut, so it looks, you guys can see that. And then also a bag of shredded carrots from your grocery store, and we cut up one stalk of celery. Funny enough, when I was learning to cook this, I actually did not know there was celery in here, so that's good to know. But my chicken is getting pretty cooked through, so I'm gonna go ahead and toss all my other ingredients in. Move it to the side of it. And you will boil this all up at the end again, just to make sure everything is cooked. But so tossing in my shrimp, there's that. And then my celery. This big bowl of julienne carrots. This is a lot of filling, so it does last a little bit. You guys can kind of adjust to smaller portions as you need, but I am at my parents' house today, and so we are feeding 5 mouths. And so this is gonna be our late lunch, I guess, or early dinner later. And then the green beans. And so just be sure to stir everything. This is a lot.
There's another question for you, and it says, what about banana lumpia?
Sorry, the banana lumpia?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're referring to turon, and that is a really good one. So that's more so like a dessert flavor, or dessert, like, I guess, dish. But I love that. My mom makes it. So for people who don't know what turon is, it's basically plantains or sweet bananas wrapped up into egg roll wrapper. But I guess in Tagalog, we call it lumpia. And then you add a little bit of brown sugar, and all of that is fried, and it's super delicious. It's called turon. I love it. My sweet tooth loves it, but my diabetic family does not need it. So, and I'm going to mix this. And so once you get all of this mixed, oh, you do also have the option of adding in 1 tablespoon of bouillon. And so I will do that, pre-measured. And also a tablespoon or just like a dash of fish sauce, which in Tagalog it's patis. And then you're just gonna stir all of this together. Oops, stir it all together and then let it boil for a little bit. And so let me mix this, and then once we get this boiling, we will go ahead and get started on the last thing, which is our lumpia wrapper. Hold on, this is a hefty mix. Make sure. Making sure I'm getting everything from the bottom to the top. And then I'm gonna put a lid on this so that it can cook. All right, the shrimp needs to go to the bottom. And I didn't add any other extra water, but it should be fine.
Yeah, it's because it's fresh. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll put the lid on. Thank you, Mom. And we'll leave this on and get started on our wrapper. Or it's called the crepe. It's pretty much a crepe wrapper, if anyone is familiar with a crepe. Switching over here, switching locations for a little bit. All right. Hopefully not too dark, I think. All right. So now we get started with the crepe wrapper that will wrap the lumpia in at the end. So let's see how that works. What you're gonna do is we're gonna have the dry ingredients first, which is this is 3 1/4 cup of flour. Put it in my sifter or strainer, and then 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and then 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then I will sift it all just to get the powder as finely done as possible. There we go. Also, I still see more cornstarch on here, so I'm just gonna toss it in. All right. And then into this, we're also going to add 1 egg. My excellent egg cracking abilities. 1 egg, and then I think this is 1 tablespoon of oil. And this can be, I think we use canola oil once again for this one. And then last but not least, 1 1/4 cup of water. And then we're going to whisk it all together. And so you guys, I'll show you guys this texture once I'm finished whisking it, but this crepe mixture can be used for this fresh spring roll, the lumpia, or you guys, sometimes we use it just to create like just your traditional like French crepes. Just because it's like super good, super light, and just very delicious overall. I will keep stirring. The mixture does stay, it doesn't, when I first made it, I was actually surprised. It's a little bit more liquidy than I initially thought, but that's the intentions of the crepe. And so, if you see this, if you guys get it to like this liquidy consistency, it's a little thick, but still pretty liquidy. This is good enough for us to start cooking it on the top. And so we are going to head back to the stove and start cooking this. All right.
We have a couple more questions for you during your transition.
Yeah.
Is the chicken marinated? How does this feed? And then can someone invent smell-o-vision for this?
So first question, the chicken was not marinated. I actually just used normal chicken tenderloins, and I just cut it. I think with all of the like veggies and flavoring that I had in the pot, which the pot is still boiling here, it gets the flavor of all of the veggies as well as the bouillon that we added and everything. So it's been good. Let me change angles so you guys can see.
Can you use ground chicken as well?
Sorry?
Can you use ground chicken as well?
Ground chicken?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would work as well. All right. But right now we're going to. Did you have another question that you asked?
No, I didn't.
Okay. But yes, the other part I remember you just said was smell-o-vision, and that would be nice. Every time people do these in my kitchens, I'm also always wanting to have a bite. So, you know, maybe one day. One day we can just reach out and grab it from the screen and try a sample. All right, and so right now I put my probably medium-sized pan onto the stove. I'm putting it on medium and waiting for it to get a little warm. And I have my crepe mixture on the side over here. And so what I'll be using is the 1/4 cup just to scoop it in. Make sure between when you guys are putting the crepe on the pan, you guys stir up the mixture because the flour does settle in every now and then. And so just to keep it even, I usually just stir it right before I put it on. And so I think my pan is warm enough. I'll only do a couple just to show you guys, but you guys will put this directly onto here. And it'll go like that. And then I usually will swirl it around, but it won't be a very pretty circle, just to make it a little thinner. If you have one of those crepe tools, I think that would be helpful. And my mom has just conveniently handed me one that I will use on the second one. But the crepe will usually start cooking pretty quickly. Again, I have it on about like medium, but close, a little on the lower side heat, just to make sure it doesn't burn. Looking for let me get my spatula. I lost my spatula, but that's okay. We will use a different one. And so how you're going to do this is you only have to cook one side. It pretty much, once it starts lifting, that means it's cooked. And so you guys can kind of see, oh, ripped it. And we plate. You guys can kind of see that this one is pretty much ready. And so I will lift this off just like that. And then I will do one more, and then we can start assembling all of this once my filling is done boiling. So here we go. This is the fancy crepe tool. Don't know if I used that right, but it is a better circle. All right, and we'll check on the filling. Is it filling? The filling is doing pretty good. Smells really good. Once the orange is like a nice bright orange, it's looking beautiful.
Actually,
Let me see if you guys can see it.
1/4 cup of chicken nuggets with steam.
All right, and now this crepe is done, and we can start assembling. Also, I did remember what the other question was about how much does this serve? I think we have a family of 5, and I think this can last, like, depending how hungry everyone is, but the filling lasts at least 2 or 3 meals. The crepe is usually only 1 meal for 5 of us. I think it makes about 10 crepes for the 1/4. But it's a good amount. Say hi to my mom. She's here. But so the filling is ready. We did add about 1/4 cup of chicken broth just for more flavor and for more steaming. But let's go ahead and get started, and we can put this together, and then I will give Elizabeth a chance to walk us through her dish. All right, now to our switching so many stations. Last station of the day, moving to the assembly station. Okay. All right. You guys can see this. All right, so we will take one of the crepes that we just made. And then you guys can add in the filling that we also just finished boiling. You guys can see all of the carrots, the green beans, the pork and the chicken is all cooked. The shrimp is nicely cooked and not overdone. Usually line them up in the center. You can put as much filling as you want. I don't usually lift it from my plate aside from, and then also you can add lettuce if you'd like. My brother and my dad usually will just do sometimes they won't use the crepe wrapper and they'll just make a lettuce wrap. And so you can do this, and then you'll do this, I'll usually also flip this over. This was a fat one. Yes, you will flip it over like so. And then you can drizzle your sauce on it. And so the sauce that we made earlier, I will scoop on in. Do like that.
Arielle, someone asked, was that chicken bouillon?
Chicken bouillon, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yes, confirmed by Mother Perez. I sprinkled this not too aesthetically, but hopefully still looks delicious. And then, oh, more sauce. And then you guys you have the option of adding crushed peanuts, or also, my dad likes to add garlic, but I usually just do the peanuts. So I'll grab this. But without further ado, that is Lumpiang Sariwa, I think. Let me give you guys get a closer view. But I think that is it. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you guys enjoyed coming in my kitchen, and now I will pass it to Elizabeth to close us off with our last dish.